Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Imagine you're running a marathon. You're at mile 20. You're tired, you're sweating, but you can see the finish line. You followed every rule, drank the water at the designated stops, stayed in your lane, and then, suddenly, race officials stop the entire event. Not just for you, for everyone. They demand to see the receipt for the shoes you bought 3 years ago. And if you can't produce it right there on the asphalt, you're disqualified.
That is a terrifying image. But honestly, it's not far off from the panic attack a lot of small business owners are having right now.
It feels like the sky is falling in the government contracting world. We are looking at this breaking news from the SBA, the Small Business Administration. They have issued a blanket order, not a random check, not a targeted investigation. They want financial records from all 8A participants, every single one.
It's the nuclear option. Usually, in compliance, you use a scalpel. You find the bad actors, you cut them out. This is a sledgehammer. And the date on this release, December 5th, 2025, is crucial. It's the end of the year. Companies are trying to close their books. They're trying to secure Q1 contracts. And suddenly, they get this mandate dropped on their heads.
So let's back up for a second. For the listeners who might not be deep in the federal procurement weeds, the 8A program is the golden ticket, right? It's supposed to be the premier development program for disadvantaged businesses.
Golden ticket is the popular term, yes, but I prefer to call it a golden handcuff. It's an incredible opportunity. It gives you access to sole source contracts, meaning no competition and set-asides. It can take a struggling small business and turn it into a multi-million-dollar enterprise in a few years. But the trade-off has always been scrutiny. You have to prove you are socially and economically disadvantaged. You have to prove you aren't actually a millionaire hiding behind a small business shell.
Right, but traditionally, that proof was, let's call it periodic. You submit your annual review, you sign some papers, and unless you're driving a Ferrari to the site visit, you're usually okay. What changed? Why is the SBA suddenly demanding a forensic accounting of everyone?
That's the billion-dollar question. If you read between the lines of this announcement, it screams data mismatch. My theory? Automation. For years, the SBA relied on self-certification and manual reviews. Humans looking at paper, but now they have AI tools. They're cross-referencing tax returns with bank data, with property records, with lifestyle indicators. And I think they found a systemic discrepancy that terrified them.
So they pulled the fire alarm.
Exactly. They realized that if they audited 10 companies and found 5 were ineligible, statistically, the whole program might be compromised. So instead of risking a congressional hearing where they get grilled for negligence, they decided to burn the fields. They are ordering everyone to prove their eligibility right now.
Let's talk about what financial records actually means here. Are we talking about a tax return? Because I can download that from my accountant in 5 minutes.
Oh, I wish it were that simple. If it were just a 1040 form, nobody would be panicking. When the SBA says financial records in the context of an eligibility review, they are looking for the adjusted net worth. They want to see your personal liquidity. They want to see if that loan you took from the company was actually income. They want to know if your spouse's assets are technically yours. They want to see the capitalization tables.
It's a colonoscopy for your wallet.
Laughs, vivid, but accurate. And here's the kicker. The 8A program has a net worth cap. For a long time, if your personal net worth exceeded a certain amount, historically around $750,000, excluding your house and the business itself you graduated, you were too successful to be disadvantaged.
which is the ultimate irony of the program, isn't it? Here, let us help you succeed. Oh wait, you succeeded? Get out.
Precisely. It's the success paradox. But here is where it gets messy. Creative accounting has been an open secret in this industry for decades. People structure their assets to stay just under that cap so they can keep the government contracts flowing for the full 9 years of the program. What this new order suggests is that the SBA is done with the creative accounting. They aren't just asking what is your net worth, they are asking, show us the raw data so we can calculate your net worth.
That is a massive shift in power. That's the difference between me telling you how much I weigh and you putting me on a scale.
And not just putting you on a scale, but stripping you naked first. This is going to expose a lot of firms who have been technically compliant on paper, but spiritually in violation of the rules.
I want to play devil's advocate for a moment. Isn't this a good thing? I mean, this is taxpayer money. The 8A program is specifically designed to help people who have faced systemic barriers. If a bunch of secret millionaires are hogging the contracts, shouldn't we be happy the SBA is cleaning house?
In a philosophical sense, absolutely. If you are gaming the system, you should be booted. No argument there. But in a practical, operational sense, this is a disaster for the legitimate companies too. Think about the administrative burden. You are a small business owner. You have 10 employees. You are the CEO, the HR director, and the janitor. Suddenly, you have 30 days to compile 5 years of forensic-level financial data. You have to hire CPAs. You have to divert focus from the contract you are currently performing.
So the innocent get caught in the dragnet.
They always do. The wealthy cheats, have high-powered lawyers and accountants on retainer who have been preparing for this. The honest, struggling business owner who barely has their QuickBooks in order, they are the ones who are going to miss a deadline or upload the wrong PDF and get terminated from the program.
That's a chilling thought. It's survival of the most organized, not necessarily the most deserving.
And there is another layer to this. The timing. December 2025. We are seeing a shift in the political landscape regarding affirmative action and race-conscious programs. The courts have been chipping away at these definitions for years. By ordering this massive financial review, the SBA might be trying to pivot the program from being identity-based to strictly economic-based.
Oh, that is fascinating. So you're saying this is a defensive move?
It could be, if they can prove that every single person in the program is legitimately, mathematically, economically disadvantaged. It bulletproofs the program against lawsuits claiming it's just a quota system. They are hardening the data to save the program's existence.
So, everyone has to suffer now so the program can survive later.
Effectively. But tell that to the guy who has to spend his Christmas break scanning bank statements from 2021.
Let's dig deeper into the net worth issue. You mentioned the cap. In 2025, with inflation what it is, $750,000 or even $850,000 isn't what it used to be. If you own a decent car and have a retirement fund, you're dangerously close to that line.
That is the tragedy of the inflation curve. The thresholds haven't kept pace with reality. So you have business owners who are paper rich but cash poor. They might have assets, but they can't make payroll if a check is late. And now the SBA is coming in with a microscope. I think we are going to see a mass exodus. I predict 20% to 30% of the current 8A portfolio will either voluntarily withdraw or get kicked out in the next 6 months.
30%? That is huge. That's thousands of companies.
It's a market correction. And think about the ripple effect. Those companies hold contracts. If they get kicked out, those contracts don't just vanish. They have to be recompeted or reassigned. We are looking at a chaotic reshuffling of billions of dollars in federal spending.
So if I'm a small business that isn't in the 8A program yet, or maybe I'm a competitor, am I popping champagne right now?
You might be. If you're a legitimate, hungry, compliant small business, a lot of shelf space is about to open up. The big, comfortable incumbents who have been coasting on the edge of eligibility are about to be cleared out. It's a forest fire. It destroys the old growth, but it clears the canopy for the new sapling.
That's a brutal but effective metaphor. But what about the trust factor? If I'm thinking about applying for 8A now, and I see this happening, this sudden, aggressive audit, do I even want to join this club?
That is the risk the government runs. You make the barrier to entry and the cost of staying so high that you scare away the very people you're trying to help. If joining the 8A program means I have to live with a permanent auditor in my guest bedroom, maybe I just stay in the commercial sector.
It becomes a calculation of privacy versus profit.
Exactly. And let's be honest, the government has never been great at protecting data. Now you're asking thousands of people to upload their most sensitive financial secrets to a government portal? In 2025, after all the cybersecurity breaches we've seen,
I didn't even think of that. You're handing over the keys to the kingdom.
you have to. It's the price of admission. But I want to circle back to something you said earlier about the December surprise. Why December?
Yeah, why ruin the holidays?
It's the legislative cycle. Often, agencies are trying to clear their dockets or utilize budget for enforcement before the new year kicks in. Or they are anticipating a regulatory change in January and want to establish a baseline before the rules change again. It feels rushed, which suggests external pressure. Someone, somewhere, maybe on Capitol Hill, maybe in the Inspector General's office, slammed their fist on a table and said, "Fix this now."
And the 8A participants are the ones absorbing the shockwave.
Yes. And my advice to anyone listening who is in this boat, do not hide. Do not hope it goes away. If you have a grey area in your books, maybe a loan to a cousin, maybe a company car that's a little too nice, disclose it. Explain it. The cover-up is always worse than the crime in federal contracting. If you try to fudge the numbers now, you aren't just risking the program, you're risking False Claims Act liability. That's treble damages. That's jail time.
So the strategy is radical transparency.
Radical, painful transparency. It's the only move left on the board.
It's interesting how this reflects the broader trend in our economy. We're moving from a trust-based economy to a verification-based economy. Whether it's crypto, banking, or government contracting, nobody takes your word for anything anymore.
We lost the luxury of trust. The systems became too big, too complex, and too easy to exploit. So now we live in the age of the audit. It's exhausting, it's expensive, but it's the new reality. The handshake deal is dead. Long live the blockchain and the forensic accountant.
That's a heavy realization. It feels like the end of an era, the era of the mum and pop shop just getting by on a good reputation. Now, you have to be a data company first and a service provider second.
That's profound, and I think you're right. To be a government contractor in 2025 and beyond, your primary product is actually compliance. The widget you make or the service you provide is secondary. Your ability to generate clean, auditable data is what actually gets you paid.
So, looking forward, we get past this deadline. The dust settles, the 30% are purged. What does the 8A program look like in 2026?
Leaner, meaner, and probably more effective. The companies that survive this purge will be the Navy SEALs of small business. They will be operationally sound, financially transparent, and ready to scale. It might actually raise the prestige of the certification. Instead of people whispering, "Oh, they just got that contract because of a loophole," they'll say, "Wow, they survived the 2025 audit. They must be legitimate."
So there is a silver lining, legitimacy.
Legitimacy is a currency. It's expensive to earn, but it spends well.
I like that. But I can't help but feel for the chaotic scramble happening right now in offices across the country. The coffee pots are working overtime tonight.
Oh, absolutely. There are no silent nights for government contractors this December.
Laughs. No silent nights indeed.
Just spreadsheets and stress.
As we wrap this up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought. We often look at government regulations as just red tape, annoying, bureaucratic noise. But this move by the SBA is a reminder that these programs are living, breathing ecosystems. They react to predators, they react to sickness, and sometimes they undergo a violent fever to kill off the infection.
That's a powerful way to put it. The question is, will the patient survive the fever? I think yes, but they're going to wake up a lot weaker before they get stronger.
And for those of you holding an 8A certification, check your inbox, then check your bank account, and maybe call your accountant before you call your family this weekend.
And don't delete anything, ever.
Words to live by in the digital age. Don't delete anything. We'll be watching closely to see how many firms are left standing when the smoke clears in January. It's going to be a very interesting year for federal procurement.
It always is, but this one is one for the history books.
Thanks for breaking it down with us.
Always a pleasure.
A special thank you to MarketUS.com for furnishing us this information. You can reach them at MarketUS.com or call them at 954-636-3232. Before we go, this deep dive was created by the MarketUS.com team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's right below the subscribe link.